Princess Zayla stood in the grand hall of the Galactic Council, her silver skin shimmering under the artificial lights. The hall was massive, filled with representatives from 100 different worlds. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few were made of pure energy. But today, all eyes were on her. "I announce my marriage to Captain Marcus Chen of Earth," Zayla said, her voice steady and strong. The hall erupted in whispers. The Corvati were one of the oldest and most powerful races in the galaxy. They were warriors, standing 7 feet tall with natural armor plating on their bodies. Their eyes glowed with psionic energy, and they could lift heavy objects with their minds. Zayla was their princess, daughter of the Emperor himself, and she was marrying a human. Marcus stood beside her, looking small in comparison. He was just under 6 feet tall, with dark hair and brown eyes. He wore a simple blue uniform of the Earth Federation. No armor, no glowing eyes, no visible powers at all. To most of the gathered aliens, he looked incredibly ordinary. "Princess, are you certain about this decision?" asked Ambassador Krell, a large insect-like being from the Chitauri hive. His mandibles clicked together nervously. "Humans are so new to the galactic stage. They have no psionic abilities, no natural defenses, no ancient heritage." Zayla's eyes flashed with anger. "Captain Chen represents the best of his species. Humans may be young, but they are intelligent, adaptable, and honorable. This marriage will strengthen the bonds between our peoples." Marcus remained silent, his face calm. He had been trained as a diplomat and knew when to speak and when to listen. But Zayla noticed something in his eyes, a deep intelligence, always watching, always calculating. The marriage ceremony took place 3 days later on the Corvati homeworld of Corva Prime. The palace was carved from a single mountain, its walls decorated with battle honors going back 10,000 years. Corvati nobles filled the ceremonial chamber, their armor polished to perfection. Many of them looked at Marcus with barely hidden contempt. In Corvati culture, strength was everything. They respected warriors, scions, and those who could prove themselves in combat. Marcus had none of these qualities, as far as they could see. "The princess dishonors herself," whispered General Throck, commander of the Imperial fleet. He stood in the back of the chamber. His massive arms crossed. "That human is weak. He will make her weak." "Silence," hissed Zayla's mother, the Empress. "The marriage serves a purpose. The humans control valuable trade routes and technology. This alliance benefits the Empire." The ceremony proceeded according to ancient tradition. Zayla and Marcus exchanged vows in both Corvati and English. When it came time for the bonding ritual, Zayla cut her palm with a ceremonial blade. Purple blood welled up. Marcus did the same, his red blood mixing with hers as they clasped hands. At that exact moment, an explosion rocked the chamber. The main doors blew inward, sending smoke and debris everywhere. Screams filled the air as guards rushed forward. Through the smoke came 3 figures wearing black combat armor, carrying advanced plasma rifles. "Death to the princess!" one of them shouted. "Death to the Alliance!" They opened fire. Plasma bolts flew across the chamber, striking nobles and guards alike. The Corvati warriors immediately engaged their psionic shields, but the assassins' weapons were designed to penetrate such defenses. One bolt flew directly toward Zayla. Marcus moved faster than anyone expected. He pushed Zayla aside and took the blast himself. The plasma hit his left shoulder, burning through his uniform and into his flesh. The smell of burning skin filled the air. But Marcus didn't scream. He didn't fall. He simply grunted, his jaw tight, and rolled behind a pillar, pulling Zayla with him. "Stay down," he said quietly. His voice was steady, showing no sign of the pain he must have been feeling. While the Corvati guards engaged 2 of the assassins, the third broke through, heading straight for the pillar where Marcus and Zayla hid. The assassin raised his weapon, ready to fire at point-blank range. Marcus's eyes locked onto the assassin. In a calm voice, as if discussing the weather, he spoke into his wrist communicator. Security. Assassin 3 is at Pillar 7, firing angle 45 degrees, wearing standard Krath armor. Weak point is the neck seal. Recommend sniper shot from the east balcony. 2 seconds later, a precision shot from a hidden security sniper struck exactly where Marcus had indicated. The assassin dropped. The remaining 2 assassins were quickly overwhelmed by the Corvathi guards. The entire attack had lasted less than 2 minutes. Zayla stared at Marcus in shock. His shoulder was badly burned, the wound still smoking, but he sat calmly. His breathing controlled, already applying a medical gel from his belt to the injury. His hands didn't shake. His face showed focus, not fear. "How did you—" she began. "Pain management training," Marcus said simply, "and tactical assessment is part of my job." Medical teams arrived and insisted on treating Marcus properly. As they worked on his shoulder, Imperial intelligence interrogated the surviving assassins. Within an hour, they had answers. "They're Krath operatives," reported Intelligence Commander Voss. "The Krath Dominion sent them. They want to prevent the human Corvathi alliance." Emperor Thrain, Zayla's father, slammed his fist on his throne. "Then the Krath have declared war. We will mobilize the fleet immediately." "Father," Zayla said, "let me lead the defense of the border worlds. I can prove myself in combat while strengthening our alliance with humanity." The Emperor considered this. "Very well, but you will take the full Third Fleet, and your husband may accompany you if he wishes." Marcus, his shoulder now bandaged, stood and bowed. "I would be honored, Your Majesty. My tactical experience may prove useful." General Throck laughed, a harsh sound. "Useful? Human, you are not a warrior. You will simply observe from safety while real soldiers fight." Marcus said nothing, but Zayla saw something flicker in his eyes. Not anger, but something else, something patient and waiting. That night, as they prepared to depart for the border worlds, Marcus sat in their quarters checking his equipment. Zayla watched him from across the room. His shoulder must have hurt terribly, but he moved efficiently, showing no discomfort. A message appeared on his private terminal. Zayla's sharp eyes caught only a few words before Marcus deleted it. "Protocol 0 is approved. Awaiting activation." "What was that?" Zayla asked. Marcus looked at her, his expression unreadable. "Just confirmation from Earth Command. Nothing to worry about." But Zayla did worry. She had married this human for political reasons, but she realized she knew very little about him, about what humans were truly capable of. As their ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, heading toward war, Zayla couldn't shake the feeling that Marcus Chen was much more than he appeared to be, and soon the entire galaxy would discover the truth about humanity. The border world of Kara 7 hung in space like a blue jewel. From orbit, it looked peaceful, but Princess Zayla knew better. Her fleet of 80 Corvathi warships surrounded the planet, preparing for the Krath invasion force that was approaching fast. "Scouts report enemy fleet incoming," announced Commander Vex from the bridge of the flagship. 200 ships. They will arrive in 6 hours. Zayla studied the tactical display, her mind racing through strategies. Beside her, Marcus stood quietly, observing everything. The bridge crew had grown used to his presence over the past 2 weeks, though most still considered him little more than a spectator. "Commander, position the heavy cruisers in formation Delta 7, Zayla ordered. "Keep the destroyers in reserve." "Princess," Marcus said softly, "may I suggest an alternative?" The bridge fell silent. General Throck, who was visiting from another ship, turned to glare at Marcus. "The human speaks of tactics." "This should be amusing." Marcus ignored the insult. He pointed to the tactical display. "The Krath are expecting a direct engagement. But if we position 20 ships here, behind this asteroid field, we can catch them in a crossfire when they commit to their attack. Zayla studied the display. The suggestion was actually quite clever. Very well. Commander Vex, implement the human strategy. Throck's expression darkened, but he said nothing. 6 hours later, the battle began exactly as Marcus had predicted. The Krath fleet charged forward, confident in their superior numbers. When they engaged the main Korvathi force, the hidden ships emerged from behind the asteroids. The crossfire devastated the Krath formation. They retreated after losing 30 ships. The humans' plan worked, Vex admitted grudgingly. Perhaps there is value in their strategic thinking, if nothing else. Over the following days, Marcus made several more suggestions. Each one proved effective. The Korvathi officers began to consult him regularly, though they still viewed humans as physically weak. After all, Marcus never participated in combat training, never demonstrated any fighting skills, never claimed to be anything more than a tactical advisor. Then came the ambush on the surface. Zayla had taken a ground team to inspect the planetary defense installations. 50 elite Korvathi guards accompanied her, along with Marcus. They moved through the abandoned military base, checking the equipment that would defend against a ground invasion. "Princess, motion sensors detecting movement," reported Guard Captain Renz. "Multiple contacts. Closing fast." Before anyone could react, the walls exploded inward. 6 Krath shock troopers burst into the room, their reptilian forms covered in thick exoskeleton armor. Each one stood 8 feet tall, with claws that could tear through steel. They carried heavy plasma cannons designed to punch through Korvathi armor. The first volley of fire killed 12 guards instantly. The Krath were the Dominion's elite warriors, bred for combat and enhanced with biological augmentation. They were nightmares on the battlefield. "Defensive formation!" Zayla shouted, raising her psionic shields. Her remaining guards formed a protective circle, returning fire. But the Krath armor deflected most shots. Their exoskeletons were designed to resist standard weapons. Another volley. 10 more guards fell. The Krath advanced, their plasma cannons glowing with deadly energy. In close quarters against these monsters, even Korvathi warriors were outmatched. Then Marcus stepped forward. He carried only a standard plasma rifle, the kind every soldier in the Alliance used. Nothing special, nothing that should make a difference against Krath shock troopers. "Human, get back!" Throck shouted. "You will be killed!" Marcus didn't respond. He simply raised his rifle and moved. What happened next would be discussed in Korvathi military academies for years to come. Marcus moved like liquid, his body flowing between plasma bolts with minimal effort. Each movement was precise, economical, perfect. A bolt passed within inches of his head. He tilted slightly. Another aimed at his chest. He sidestepped at the last possible moment. His rifle fired. The shot hit a Krath trooper in the eye slit of his helmet, a gap barely 2 inches wide. The trooper dropped. The second Krath charged at Marcus with its claws extended. Marcus didn't retreat. He slid under the creature's guard, his rifle firing 3 times at the joints where the armor plates connected. The Krath's leg buckled. As it fell, Marcus fired once more into its throat seal. Dead. Zayla watched in absolute shock. Marcus's movements were beyond anything she had seen. His reaction time was impossible. He dodged shots before the Krath even pulled their triggers, as if he knew where they would fire. His accuracy was perfect, finding weak points that shouldn't be visible to normal eyes. The third and fourth Krath fired together, creating a crossfire pattern that should have been unavoidable. Marcus dropped to the ground. Rolled between the shots came up firing. Both troopers fell, shots through their helmet seals. The fifth Krath pulled a vibroblade and rushed forward. The massive creature moved with surprising speed, but Marcus was faster. He used the Krath's own momentum against it, stepping aside and firing into the back of its neck as it passed. The trooper crashed into the wall and didn't move. The last Krath hesitated, recognizing the threat. It began backing toward the exit. Marcus's expression remained calm, almost bored. He fired once. The shot traveled through the air and struck the Krath's weapon, causing it to explode in its hands. Before the creature could recover, Marcus fired again, hitting the weak point in its chest armor. 90 seconds, 6 Krath shock troopers, all dead. Marcus lowered his rifle and checked his ammunition counter as casually as someone checking the time. The room was completely silent. 40 Korvathi warriors, bred and trained for combat, stared at the human in disbelief. General Throck's mouth hung open in shock. Zayla found her voice first. "Marcus, how?" Marcus turned to look at her. For a moment, she saw something in his eyes, a depth of capability that had been hidden until now. Then his expression softened into his usual calm demeanor. "We should secure the perimeter," he said quietly. "There may be more." "Answer me," Zayla demanded, her voice sharp. "No normal human can do what you just did. Explain yourself. Now!" Marcus sighed. He set his rifle down and pulled back his sleeve. His forearm showed faint lines beneath the skin, circuitry, barely visible. "All human military personnel receive enhancements. Cybernetic augmentation, genetic modification, neural implants. They improve reaction time, strength, coordination, and sensory processing." "Enhancements?" Throck breathed. "The galaxy forbids such modifications. They are considered too dangerous." "Humans view them differently," Marcus said. "To us, they're tools. They help us survive in a dangerous universe." Zayla's mind reeled. "How extensive are these enhancements?" "Mine are basic tier," Marcus replied. "Standard for any Earth Federation officer. Nothing exceptional by human standards." "Basic?" Zayla whispered. If this was basic, what did advanced look like? That night, Zayla couldn't sleep. She kept replaying the battle in her mind. Marcus had moved with precision that seemed almost mechanical. His accuracy was computer perfect. His reaction time was faster than any organic being should possess. She activated her medical scanner, pointing it at Marcus as he slept beside her. The results made her blood run cold. His body contained extensive cybernetic systems, reinforced skeleton, enhanced muscles, neural processors connected directly to his brain. But there was something else, something the scanner highlighted in red. A secondary AI system, massive and complex, dormant inside Marcus's neural network. It was like finding a sleeping giant inside his head. "Marcus," she said, shaking him awake, "what is this? My scanner detected an AI in your brain." Marcus opened his eyes. He looked at the scanner, then at her. His expression was apologetic but firm. "You're not cleared for that information yet," he said quietly. "But you will be soon. I promise." "Cleared?" "I'm your wife. And when the time is right, you'll understand everything." Marcus sat up, taking her hand. "Zayla, I know this is frightening, but trust me. Everything I am, everything I can do, it's all in service of protecting people. Including you." Zayla pulled her hand away, feeling betrayed. "What else are you hiding? What else haven't you told me about humanity?" Marcus looked sad. "More than you know, but less than you fear." Outside their quarters, the war continued. The Krath were preparing their next attack, and Zayla was beginning to realize that she had married someone, something, that she didn't understand at all. The question was, could she trust him when she learned the full truth? The alarm woke everyone on the flagship. Red lights flashed through the corridors as crew members rushed to their stations. Zayla ran to the bridge, Marcus following close behind. Commander Vex was already there, his face grim. "Princess, we have a serious problem," Vex said, pulling up a holographic display. "The Krath have deployed a planet-killer weapon." Zayla's blood went cold. On the screen, a massive device floated in space near Kara 7. It looked like a dark metal sphere covered in strange symbols and energy conduits. Around it, 200 Krath warships formed a defensive perimeter. "What kind of weapon?" Zayla asked, though she feared the answer. "Gravitational disruptor," Marcus said quietly, studying the display. "It manipulates gravity fields to tear a planet apart from the inside. Kara 7 has 48 hours before the process becomes irreversible." "How do you know that?" Vex demanded. "Because humans encountered similar technology during our expansion period," Marcus replied. "We know how it works." Zayla turned to her tactical officer. "Can we break through their defensive line?" The officer ran quick calculations. "Negative, Princess. They have us outnumbered more than 2-1. Even if we committed our entire fleet, we would be destroyed before reaching the device. And even if we somehow got through, the weapon is shielded. Our weapons cannot penetrate it." "Then 4 billion people on Kara 7 are going to die," General Throck said darkly. He had come to the bridge as soon as the alarm sounded. "Unless we request reinforcements, but they will not arrive in time." Zayla stared at the display, her mind racing through impossible scenarios. Every strategy led to failure. Every option ended in death. She had never felt so helpless. "There might be another way," Marcus said. Everyone turned to look at him. His expression was serious, more intense than Zayla had ever seen. "I need to speak with Princess Zila and any Galactic Council representatives immediately," Marcus continued. "In a secured chamber. What I have to say is classified at the highest level." 20 minutes later, Zila sat in the ship's most secure room. With her were Marcus, General Throck, Commander Vex, and Ambassador Krell, who represented the Galactic Council in this sector. The room was shielded against all surveillance. "Speak, human," Throck growled. "What miracle do you propose?" Marcus stood at the head of the table. He looked tired, and something else, reluctant, as if he was about to reveal something he had hoped to keep hidden forever. 300 years ago, humanity almost destroyed itself, Marcus began. "We fought wars that made the current galactic conflicts look like minor skirmishes. Nuclear weapons, biological weapons, weapons that could crack planets open. We came within hours of rendering Earth uninhabitable." "We know this history," Ambassador Krell clicked. "Humans are a violent species. This is not news." "What you don't know is what we did to survive," Marcus continued. "In our desperation, we created weapons beyond anything the galaxy has seen. We developed technology that could manipulate space-time, rewrite DNA at will, create artificial intelligence that surpassed organic thought. We built machines that could think, weapons that could decide, and soldiers that were more than human." Zayla leaned forward. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that humanity never stopped advancing militarily. We just stopped showing it." Marcus pressed a button on his wrist device. A holographic document appeared, covered in Earth Federation seals. "When we joined the galactic community, we made a choice. We would hide our true capabilities to avoid frightening other species. We would appear weak, harmless, beneath notice. But we would maintain our edge, our weapons, our enhanced soldiers, just in case." "Enhanced soldiers," Zayla whispered. "Like you. Like me, but I'm not the pinnacle." Marcus met her eyes. "I'm part of a program called the Vanguard Protocol. We are soldiers enhanced far beyond basic military augmentation. My body is 40% synthetic. My skeleton is reinforced with metamaterials stronger than any natural bone. My brain is networked with quantum processors that can calculate trajectories and battle strategies in nanoseconds. I can interface directly with any computer system. I can operate for weeks without sleep. I can survive in vacuum for short periods." The room was silent. Ambassador Krell's insect eyes widened in shock. General Throck looked like he might be sick. You're not even fully organic anymore," Throck said, his voice shaking. "I'm still human," Marcus said firmly, "but I'm also a weapon. We all are. Every Vanguard unit is designed to be a force multiplier, one soldier who can accomplish what an entire battalion cannot." How many of these vanguards exist? Zayla asked, her voice barely a whisper. 40,000, stationed throughout human space, but millions more humans have lesser enhancements. We've been quietly protecting the galaxy for decades, stopping threats before they escalate, working in the shadows. Why are you telling us this now? Ambassador Krell demanded. Because I need permission to go active, Marcus said. I've been operating at 10% capacity to maintain my cover. Everything you've seen me do, the tactical planning, the combat abilities, that's me holding back. But if you authorize Protocol Zero, I can infiltrate that Krath flagship, reach the planet killer, and disable it. Alone? Vex said incredulously. That's suicide. Not for a vanguard. Marcus pulled up schematics of the Krath ship. I can board the vessel without being detected, move through their security, reach the core, and manually shut down the device. It's dangerous, but possible. Zayla stood up, her emotions churning. Anger, betrayal, fear, and something else. A terrible understanding. You lied to me, to all of us. You made us think humans were weak when we're actually the most dangerous species in the galaxy, Marcus finished quietly. Yes, we lied, because we learned long ago that showing your true strength invites challenges. We wanted peace, not war, so we hid what we could do. And what you can do, Throck said slowly. Is it enough to save Keras 7? I believe so. But I need authorization. Protocol Zero is not something I can activate on my own. It requires approval from both my government and the local galactic authority. Ambassador Krell's mandibles clicked rapidly as he thought. Finally, he spoke. The Council will want to discuss this development at length. The revelation that humanity has been hiding such capabilities will cause significant political complications. 4 billion people will be dead in 48 hours, Marcus said bluntly. Politics can wait. Zayla closed her eyes, thinking of all those people on Keras 7. Children, families, people who had no idea a weapon hung in space above them, ready to tear their world apart. Then she thought of Marcus, her husband, who she now realized she had never truly known. I authorize it, she said. Whatever Protocol Zero is, whatever you need to do, you have my permission. Save those people. General Throck nodded slowly. I agree. The Empire authorizes this action. Ambassador Krell hesitated, then clicked his mandibles in agreement. The Council will ratify this decision afterward. Proceed, Captain Chen. Marcus nodded. Thank you. I'll need access to your armory and 2 hours to prepare. After that, I'll deploy to the Krath flagship. As the others filed out, Zayla grabbed Marcus's arm. Wait, before you go, I need to know. Are you still the person I married? Or was that all an act? Marcus looked at her with genuine sadness in his eyes. Everything between us has been real, Zayla. My feelings, my respect for you, my desire for peace, all of it is true. The only thing I hid was what I'm capable of, not who I am. And who are you, really? Marcus took her hand gently. I'm a man who lost his family to the Krath in an earlier raid. I'm someone who chose to become a weapon so others wouldn't suffer as I did. I'm a soldier who wants peace more than anything because I've seen too much war. And I'm your husband, who would do anything to protect you and your people. He released her hand and headed for the door. As he reached it, his body seemed to shift subtly. His posture changed, becoming more fluid, more dangerous. When he spoke again, his voice carried strange harmonic frequencies that made the air vibrate. Vanguard Unit Chen 7, beginning activation sequence. Protocol Zero engaged. His eyes began to glow with soft blue light. Zayla watched him leave, her heart pounding. She had married this man thinking she understood what humanity represented. Now she realized the truth was far more complex and far more terrifying than she had ever imagined. The galaxy was about to witness what happened when humanity stopped pretending to be weak, and Zayla wasn't sure whether to be relieved or afraid. Marcus stood in the armory, his eyes glowing bright blue. Zayla watched through the observation window as technicians helped him prepare. His body had changed in subtle ways since activating Protocol Zero. He moved with perfect fluidity, and his skin seemed to shimmer slightly, as if energy flowed just beneath the surface. "Vanguard systems fully online," Marcus said, his voice carrying that strange harmonic quality. "All augmentations operating at maximum capacity. Neural processing speed increased by factor of 20. Combat prediction algorithms active." A technician handed him a sleek black suit. It looked thin, almost fragile, but Zayla knew it must be special. Marcus put it on, and it immediately conformed to his body like a second skin. "Personal shield generator integrated," Marcus reported. "Optical camouflage active. Weapon systems ready?" Commander Vex stood beside Zayla, watching with obvious nervousness. "Princess, are we certain about this? Sending one person against an entire fleet seems insane," Zayla finished. "Yes, but we have no other options." On the display screens, the Krath defensive perimeter remained solid. 200 warships, all on high alert. In the center, the planet killer continued its terrible work. Kara 7 now had only 43 hours left. Marcus walked to the launch bay. A small stealth pod waited for him, barely larger than a coffin. He would travel through space in that tiny vessel, completely alone. "Marcus!" Zayla called through the communication system. "Can you hear me?" "Affirmative, Princess." Even through the speakers, his voice sounded different, more precise, less human. "Come back safely. Please." There was a pause. When Marcus spoke again, some warmth returned to his voice. "I promise I'll try. Watch the security feeds. You're about to see what a Vanguard can really do." The pod launched, accelerating away from the flagship. It was so small and its stealth systems so advanced that it disappeared from sensors almost immediately. Zayla could only track it because Marcus kept his communication channel open. "Approaching Krath perimeter," Marcus reported, "initiating full camouflage." Through the security satellites positioned around the battlefield, Zayla watched. The Krath ships maintained their formations, their sensors sweeping space constantly, but they detected nothing. Marcus's pod slipped between two destroyers, moving with impossible precision through the gaps in their patrol patterns. "How is he navigating through that?" General Throck asked. "The timing required would be perfect to the millisecond." "His neural processors are calculating trajectories faster than any ship computer," Zayla explained, finally understanding. "He's seeing possibilities we can't even imagine." Marcus reached the Krath flagship, a massive vessel 3 miles long, bristling with weapons. The pod attached itself to the hull near an access port. Through his helmet camera, they watched as Marcus emerged into space. He wore no bulky spacesuit, just the thin black outfit. A transparent shield surrounded him, holding in air and protecting him from radiation. He moved across the hull like a spider, his magnetic boots keeping him attached. "Breaching hull now," Marcus said. His hands glowed with blue energy. He touched the access port, and it simply opened, as if recognizing him as authorized personnel. "Hull security systems compromised. Entering ship." Inside the Krath vessel, alarms should have blared. But Marcus moved through the corridors like a ghost. His camouflage made him nearly invisible. When Krath soldiers passed within feet of him, they saw nothing. Then the first patrol spotted him, or rather spotted a flicker of movement. 6 Krath soldiers raised their weapons and fired. What happened next made every Korvathi officer watching gasp in disbelief. Marcus moved between the plasma bolts as if they were standing still. His body twisted and turned with inhuman grace. He reached the first soldier before the others could react. His hand touched the Krath's weapon and it exploded, taking the soldier down. The second soldier swung a blade. Marcus caught his arm, redirected the momentum, and sent the soldier crashing into the wall with enough force to dent the metal. The third and fourth fired together. Marcus's shield flared, absorbing the shots. Then he moved forward in a blur. 2 precise strikes, and both soldiers fell unconscious. The 5th soldier was smarter. He activated the alarm and ran, but Marcus was faster. He touched a control panel on the wall, and suddenly all the ship's systems in that section went haywire. Lights flickered, doors locked. The alarm died before it could fully sound. "How did he hack their systems so fast?" Vex demanded. "He didn't hack them," Ambassador Krell said, his voice filled with awe and fear. "He interfaced directly, his neural implants connected to their computer systems. He's not breaking their security. He's simply taking control." Marcus continued deeper into the ship. More soldiers came. Each encounter lasted only seconds. Marcus never killed unless necessary, but his efficiency was terrifying. He moved through the Krath flagship like a force of nature, unstoppable and precise. Zayla watched the security feeds, her emotions in turmoil. This was her husband, yet he seemed like a stranger. Every movement was calculated, every action perfectly executed. There was no hesitation, no doubt, no fear, just pure, focused capability. "Approaching the Planet Killer's control center," Marcus reported. "Heavy resistance expected." The control center was guarded by 20 elite Krath warriors and protected by multiple security barriers. Marcus analyzed the situation in microseconds. "Beginning assault." He dropped his camouflage and moved openly now. The Krath warriors opened fire with everything they had. Plasma bolts filled the corridor like a deadly light show. Marcus's shield absorbed what it could, but even it had limits. So Marcus stopped trying to avoid all the shots. Instead, he moved with perfect efficiency, taking hits on reinforced parts of his body while protecting vital areas. A plasma bolt struck his shoulder, the same one injured weeks ago. The synthetic tissue absorbed the impact. Another hit his leg. His reinforced bones held firm. He reached the first security barrier, a solid wall of energy that should have been impenetrable. Marcus placed both hands on it, and his body glowed with blue light. Energy flowed from him into the barrier. The barrier flickered, weakened, then collapsed. "Impossible!" a Krath commander shouted. "No one can override our security." "Your mistake," Marcus said calmly, "was designing security systems that assume all threats are external. You never considered someone who could become part of your network." He fought his way through the guards with brutal efficiency. His movements were beautiful and terrible at the same time, a deadly dance choreographed by quantum processors and executed by enhanced muscles. Finally, he reached the Planet Killer's core control room. Inside, Krath technicians worked frantically at the controls. The device's status showed clearly on the screens. 39 hours until Karis 7's destruction was irreversible. Marcus disabled the technicians quickly, then approached the main console. His hands moved over the controls, his neural processors analyzing the alien technology at impossible speeds. "Problem," he said quietly. "The device cannot be shut down remotely. It requires manual shutdown from inside the reactor core." "What does that mean?" Zayla asked, though she feared the answer. "The reactor core is flooded with radiation, lethal levels. Even with my enhancements, entering it will cause significant damage to my systems." "Then don't do it," Zayla said quickly. "Find another way." "There is no other way." Marcus's voice was calm, accepting. "But my synthetic organs and nanotech repair systems should keep me functional long enough to complete the shutdown. Probability of survival, 73%. "Marcus, that's not good enough." "It's better than 0% for 4 billion people on Karis 7. Marcus began opening the reactor core door. Beyond it, an orange glow pulsed with deadly energy. Beginning final approach. Zayla watched helplessly as Marcus entered the reactor core. Even through his helmet camera, they could see the radiation distorting the image. Warning indicators flashed across his display, damage to multiple systems, repair nanobots working overtime, synthetic organs beginning to fail. But Marcus kept moving. His hands worked the manual controls with steady precision, even as his body broke down around him. He spoke calmly, guiding himself through the shutdown sequence. Primary systems offline, secondary systems disengaging, gravitational field collapsing, planet killer neutralized. On the displays, the massive weapon in space began powering down. Its glow faded. The gravitational distortions around Keras 7 stabilized. The planet was saved. But Marcus collapsed inside the reactor core. "Marcus!" Zayla screamed. "Medical team, get to that flagship now!" "Already en route, Princess," Commander Vex reported. "Emergency extraction team deployed." 20 agonizing minutes later, the medical team found Marcus unconscious inside the reactor. His body was badly damaged, his systems failing. They rushed him back to the Korvathi flagship's medical bay. Zayla stood over him as doctors worked frantically. His skin was burned, his synthetic organs were shutting down, and his neural processors were showing critical errors. "Will he live?" she asked the head doctor. "Unknown, Princess. His biology is too different from ours. We don't understand half of what we're seeing." Zayla took Marcus's hand. It felt too cold. "Stay with me," she whispered. "Please. You promised you'd try." The medical bay was silent except for the steady beeping of monitors. Marcus had been unconscious for 3 days. His body lay on the medical table, connected to machines that kept his vital systems functioning. The radiation damage had been severe, but slowly, his nanotech repair systems were rebuilding what had been destroyed. Zayla sat beside him, refusing to leave. She had barely slept, barely eaten. Her officers had tried to convince her to rest, but she wouldn't listen. She just held Marcus's hand and waited. On the 4th day, his eyes opened. "Zayla," he whispered, his voice weak but recognizable. The strange harmonic quality was gone. He sounded human again. "You're awake." Zayla felt tears running down her face. She hadn't realized she was crying. "Don't ever do that to me again." "Did it work?" "Is the planet safe?" "Yes. 4 billion people are alive because of you. The Krath fleet retreated when their weapon failed." Zayla squeezed his hand gently. "But there's something you need to know. The Galactic Council has called an emergency session. They want to discuss humanity's hidden capabilities. They know everything now." Marcus closed his eyes briefly. "I expected that. What's the mood?" "Mixed. Some species are grateful, others are terrified, and some want humanity quarantined or restricted." Zayla helped him sit up slowly. "The council session starts in 2 hours. Can you attend?" "I have to. This is too important." 2 hours later, Marcus walked into the Grand Council chamber. He still moved stiffly, his body not fully healed. But he was alive, and he could stand. That was enough. The chamber was packed. Representatives from every major species had come. The atmosphere was tense, filled with whispered conversations and worried glances. Ambassador Krell called the session to order. "We are here to address the revelation about humanity's military capabilities. Captain Marcus Chen of Earth will provide testimony." Marcus stood before the council, feeling the weight of hundreds of eyes upon him. Zayla sat in the front row, giving him an encouraging nod. "Members of the council," Marcus began, "I understand you have questions about what I am and what humanity has been hiding. I'm here to answer honestly." "You claim to be enhanced," said Representative Vorn, a tall crystalline being from the Silicate Collective. "You claim your people have created weapons beyond our understanding. Is this an act of deception? Of preparing for conquest?" "No," Marcus said firmly. "It's an act of survival. 3 centuries ago, humanity nearly destroyed itself. We developed terrible weapons and used them against each other. Billions died. Our planet nearly became uninhabitable. We learned a hard lesson. Power without wisdom leads to extinction." He paused, gathering his thoughts. So we made a choice. We would keep our weapons, keep our enhancements, keep our edge, but we would use them only for defense. We would join the galactic community not as conquerors, but as protectors. We would hide our strength to avoid the conflicts that come when others feel threatened. But you did deceive us, Vorn insisted. You made us believe humans were weak. We let you make assumptions, Marcus corrected. We never claimed to be weak. We simply didn't advertise our capabilities. And in the process, we've quietly stopped dozens of threats to galactic peace. We've prevented wars before they started. We've neutralized weapons that would have killed billions. We've done all this without asking for recognition or reward. An Earth Federation representative stood up from the human delegation section. She was Admiral Sarah Torres, commander of the human fleet. If I may address the council? Ambassador Krell nodded permission. Admiral Torres activated a holographic display. What Captain Chen says is true. For the past 50 years, humanity has been operating covert protection operations throughout the galaxy. Here are the records. The display showed mission after mission. Human operatives stopping terrorist attacks. Vanguard units disabling weapons of mass destruction. Human intelligence preventing assassinations and wars. The list went on and on. We've saved an estimated 70 billion lives across multiple species, Torres continued. We've done this quietly, without fanfare, because we wanted peace, not glory. But now that our capabilities are revealed, we face a choice. Do we continue protecting the galaxy, or do we withdraw because you fear us? The chamber erupted in debate. Some representatives argued for restricting humanity. Others defended them. The arguments grew heated. General Throck stood up, his massive form commanding attention. I speak for the Korvathi Empire. We have fought beside humans. We have seen their courage, their honor, their sacrifice. Captain Chen saved 4 billion lives and nearly died doing it. He could have used his power to dominate, but instead, he used it to protect. That is the measure of a species, not their strength, but how they choose to use it. Zayla stood beside Throck. I am Princess Zayla of Korva. I married Marcus Chen believing him to be weak by our standards. I was wrong. He is not weak. He is strong enough to hide his strength. He is powerful enough to choose restraint. Those are the qualities of true warriors, not conquerors. Ambassador Krell looked around the chamber. The council will vote. Should humanity be granted full membership with no restrictions, or should limitations be placed on their military capabilities? The vote was close, but finally, the decision came. Humanity would be granted probationary status. They could keep their enhancements and weapons, but they had to be transparent about their capabilities. No more secrets. Marcus accepted the decision with a bow. The Earth Federation agrees to these terms. 3 months later, Marcus stood on an observation deck overlooking Kara 7. The planet looked beautiful from orbit, its blue oceans and green continents pristine and alive. Down there, 4 billion people lived their lives, never knowing how close they had come to destruction. Zayla joined him, standing close. What are you thinking? About choices, Marcus said. 300 years ago, my ancestors chose to enhance themselves to survive. 50 years ago, humanity chose to hide that power to seek peace. And 3 months ago, I chose to reveal everything to save lives. Each choice had consequences. Do you regret it? No. The secret couldn't last forever. Better to reveal it saving people than to have it discovered during conflict. Marcus turned to face her. But I regret not telling you sooner. You deserve to know who you were marrying. Zayla took his hand. I married you for political reasons. I admit that freely. But I've come to understand something important. You could have been anyone, anything. You could have demanded power or respect based on your capabilities. Instead, you chose to be kind, patient, and protective. Those choices define you more than any enhancement. I'm still the same person you met, Marcus said softly. The enhancements, the power, they're just tools. What matters is the person using them. I know that now. Zayla smiled. When I first married you, I thought I understood strength. The Korvathi measure it in combat ability and psionic power, but you've taught me that real strength is knowing when not to use your power. It's choosing to protect rather than dominate. It's being willing to sacrifice yourself for others. Marcus pulled her close. There's something else you should know. Something I haven't told anyone yet. What? Before I volunteered for the Vanguard program, I was just an ordinary person. I had a family, parents, a sister, a nephew. The Krath killed them during a raid on a colony world. I was off-planet at the time, studying diplomacy. His voice grew quiet. I could have chosen revenge. I could have become a weapon aimed at destruction, but that wouldn't have brought them back. So I chose a different path. The Vanguard program, Zayla said, understanding. Yes. I became a weapon, but one aimed at protection. I transformed my pain into purpose. That's what humanity learned to do as a species. We took our capacity for violence and redirected it toward defense. We weaponized not our anger, but our compassion. Zayla was quiet for a moment. That might be humanity's greatest power, not your enhancements or your technology, but your ability to transform suffering into strength and violence into protection. Below them, Karis 7 continued its rotation, peaceful and safe. In the distance, Korvathi and human ships patrolled together, the beginning of a new partnership. The galaxy is changing, Marcus observed. News of what humans can do is spreading. Some species will fear us. Others will try to recruit us. Some will challenge us to prove ourselves. How will humanity respond? The same way we always have. We'll protect those who need protection. We'll fight when necessary. And we'll keep trying to build a better galaxy, one choice at a time. Marcus smiled. Besides, we're not alone anymore. The Korvathi-Human Alliance is officially forming. Together we're stronger. 6 months after the battle for Karis 7, Princess Zayla stood before her people. She wore her ceremonial armor, polished and gleaming. Beside her stood Marcus in his formal uniform, his enhancements hidden but no longer secret. Today, we announce the formation of the Joint Korvathi-Human Military Academy, Zayla declared. Our species will train together, learn from each other, and stand together against threats to galactic peace. We will combine Korvathi warrior traditions with human tactical innovation. We will be stronger united than we ever were apart. The crowd cheered. Not everyone was happy. Change always brought resistance, but most recognized the wisdom in the alliance. Marcus stepped forward. Humanity no longer hides what we are. We are enhanced, we are powerful, and we are dangerous when provoked. But we are also committed to peace, to cooperation, and to protecting those who cannot protect themselves. That is the promise we make today. As the ceremony concluded, Marcus and Zayla walked together through the palace gardens. The twin suns of Corva Prime were setting, casting golden light across the flowers. Are you happy? Zayla asked. With everything that's happened? Marcus considered the question carefully. I'm satisfied. The secret is out, the alliance is forming, and the galaxy is adjusting. It's not perfect, but it's progress. And us? Are we still just a political marriage? Marcus stopped walking and turned to face her fully. Zayla, I can calculate trajectories in nanoseconds. I can hack computer systems with my thoughts. I can predict enemy movements before they happen. But I still haven't figured out how to tell you that somewhere along the way this stopped being just duty for me. It became real. Zayla's eyes widened. Then she smiled, her silver skin glowing in the sunset. Good, because it became real for me too. They stood together in the garden, human and Korvathi, weapon and warrior, Two people who had found something genuine in an arrangement that had started as pure politics. The galaxy was changing. Humanity's secret was revealed. New alliances were forming. Challenges would come, conflicts would arise, and the future remained uncertain. But in that moment, as the suns set on Corva Prime, Marcus and Zayla had everything they needed: trust, respect, and the understanding that true strength isn't about power. It's about choosing wisely how to use it. The age of humanity's secrets had ended. The age of true partnership had begun. And the galaxy would never be the same. The end.